playoffs this year. What's the narrative on Baker Mayfield in Cleveland? What is everybody going to be wondering about Baker next offseason, going into that season? It's like, I don't know. Now Baker, first overall pick. Like, what has he really done? Like, every year we're wondering, is this the coach for Baker? Can Baker do it? So to me, Baker is the guy because people still don't. I think when Baker is on, he is dangerous. However, there have been moments that loss to the Jets. I understand all the COVID protocol situations and guys being out and him missing his top 4 receivers. That's no excuse to lose to that Jets team. I'm sorry. And so Baker was extremely upset after that game, and rightfully so, because he knows as a QB, regardless if you have no weapons, you have to beat that Jets team. And the same goes for the Rams too. Right. But going into this, like, if Baker doesn't make the playoffs, like, I just think how we look at him is completely different versus what the expectations are for Lamar and how we look at Lamar. Go ahead. Tell me I'm right.
So I thought after yesterday that maybe you didn't like me because you yelled at me. But I know that you really like me after today because you are throwing me some softballs. I appreciate this alley-oop.
I came with my little top. I'm ready for 20.
I disagree with you. I think that the choice has been made, or Baker made his point this year. He's the starting quarterback. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson. But what happens, the reason why there's less pressure on Baker going into this weekend, the Ravens are playing against the Bengals, who beat the Steelers when the Steelers were full strength. The Browns are playing against a Steelers team who is looking past this game. They're not playing their best defensive players. They're not playing their quarterback. There's not a ton of pressure on them in this situation. The Ravens have a game that has a chance to be difficult. The Bengals put up a tough game last week for the Texans, and they put up a tough game for the Steelers in the previous week. The Browns are going into this situation against, and I understand the COVID difficulties and making it difficult for them to practice, but they're going against a Steelers team that don't care, frankly, whether they win or lose. I understand Mike Tomlin said the standard is the standard, and they're going to get out there and give it their best, but you can't be somebody you're not. If TJ Watt ain't on the field, whoever's replacing him, you can't be TJ Watt. You can't be Cam Hayward. You can't be Marcus Pouncey. If you're not him, you can't be him. I mean, Mason Rudolph, you can't be Ben Roethlisberger. So there's not a ton of pressure on Baker Mayfield. And I think the crux of our disagreement is I think both cities, both cities, Baltimore and Cleveland, think they have their quarterback. I think that this year was about, for Cleveland, finding out if they have a coach and finding out if they have a quarterback. They have 10 wins. That is like more than several years combined, last several seasons combined for them. I think that they know that Baker Mayfield, he's not going to be Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. That's fine. But I think they know that he is their quarterback. They know that Stefanski is his coach.
Yeah, agree with you. But if you are the Browns, if you're Baker, and you lose to a Steelers team that, as you say, doesn't care, they're going to lay down in Week 17, on top of losing to the Jets last week, that's a totally different feeling heading into the offseason. They may have won 10 games, and yay, let's be happy that the Browns won 10 games, but that's not the goal. The goal wasn't just to win 10 games. Look at this roster. This is a playoff roster. So if they lose to the Jets and lose to a Steelers team that is not starting a lot of their guys, that's a problem.
Yeah, I think expectations have certainly been set for the Browns. Kimberly, we're going to give you the last word on this one, and we're going to bring you back just a second after we hit this NBA debate, and Kendrick Perkins coming in for us for that one. So let's talk some Celtics, guys. The Celtics picking up their third win of the season behind a 42-point performance by Jaylen Brown. Jayson Tatum chipped in with 16 points, but it was Brown's 7 of 10 performance from behind the arc that spearheaded Boston's win over Memphis. All right, now we bring him in. Kendrick Perkins here with us. And Kendrick, I'll start with you here. Who do you believe is the best player on the Celtics roster today?
Well, Charlie, with all due respect to Jayson Tatum, I'm a huge fan of Jayson Tatum. I think he's a rising star in this league. But so is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Boston Celtics, best all-around player. And now the only edge that Jayson Tatum had over Jaylen Brown was his ability to get buckets. Jaylen Brown has took that next step. It's nothing Jaylen Brown can't do offensively that no one else can do in the league. He has zero flaws in his offensive game. He has a mid-range package. He could slash to the basket. He could drive to the basket with his right or left hand, finish strong at the rim. His three-point percentage is up. And here's what I knew when I knew that Jaylen Brown took the leap, that he is a elite player in this league. It's not this sample size that we're seeing right now. It's what he did last year in the bubble, in the postseason. He was the most consistent player on the Celtic team last year. When Gordon Hayward went out, it was his time to step up. Just think about what he did before the pandemic, averaging 20 points a night and not getting a single play call for him. He was the fourth option, shooting 50% from the field. So coming into this season, it's a reason why in the preseason I picked Jaylen Brown to win Most Improved Player, because I said, one, finally Gordon Hayward is gone and is finally out of his way. Two, Kemba is hurt. We're going to watch Jaylen Brown emerge into the superstar that he is. And in my opinion, not only is he excellent on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's one of one. Could switch 1 through 5 pick and rolls, and is one of the best elite defenders at the wing position that we have in this league. So when I'm looking at this Boston Celtic team, it's no doubt in my mind, with all due respect to Jayson Tatum, but Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Boston Celtics.
I don't disagree with you that it's close, but I don't think that that Jaylen Brown has taken the mantle just yet. And I'm not wrong in that. I understand that your basketball experience gives you a little more insight, or a lot more insight than I have. No, I'm not. I'm not wrong. You're not disagreeing with me. You're disagreeing with the whole Celtics organization. You're disagreeing with Brad Stevens. Like, if you watch those games, you said it yourself. Jayson Tatum has more plays called for him. You know why? Because they think he's better. They think that he's better. That's why they give him the ball. And you talk about who's the best player. At the end of games, we find out who teams really believe in, who teams really trust in those clutch situations and close situations. Jayson Tatum outscores Jaylen Brown. He almost doubles him up. 142 to 75 in those situations. And his field goal percentage, don't even try to pull that, because I looked that up too. He has a higher field goal percentage in those situations. It's not just about volume. He shoots at 44% in them to Jaylen Brown's 40% in those situations. And he has a higher usage rate, which to me suggests that Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, everybody in that building believes that he is a better player, and I agree with them. I think it's very close. Maybe Jaylen Brown is the most improved player, but there's a long step from most improved player to best player on the team.
No, and here's where you're wrong. Just because in the clutch time that your number is called doesn't mean that you're the best player. Like I said, Jaylen Brown just had to wait his turn. Kyrie Irving was in Jayson Tatum way. When Kyrie Irving left, then Jayson Tatum was able to emerge. Here's the thing. You're talking about everybody in the Celtic organization. Guess who's tied to the Celtic organization more than anybody in the media? Yours truly. So when you think of this, right, these rumors that we've been hearing about, oh, it's possible that the Celtics are now looking to trade for James Harden, guess whose name comes about? Jaylen Brown. Guess why the trade haven't happened? Because they value Jaylen Brown that much. By the way, James Harden is an MVP candidate. Why wouldn't they pull the trigger so fast? Because they know that this guy is on the verge of shocking the world, like people like yourself, and showing you that he is on that elite level of Jayson Tatum. And you talk about usage rate, he was the fourth option. Go check the usage rate right now and see what's the usage rate for us, Jaylen Brown. Yeah,
that's
for us, Jaylen Brown this season.
That's fine.
Dominique, what you saying? I don't care if you leaning and rocking
he's the fourth.
What you saying?
He was the fourth option. That's fine. You know what? It's different when you're the number one option. Like you're in a different situation. And back to your trade conversations. I believe that they are calling, asking about Jaylen Brown, and I believe that the Celtics are saying, no, we can't come off of him because he is too good. You know who they ain't asking about? Jayson Tatum, because they know that is a wasted time. Time is too precious to waste time bringing up names that you know they won't even consider. Jayson Tatum is untouchable in that organization. The Rockets know that. Everybody knows that. When you call and make a trade, you better shoot for Jaylen Brown, because you ain't going to get a call back if you say Jayson Tatum.
And guess what happened? The Rockets found out that Jaylen Brown is untouchable too. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. He is showing us who he is. Right now, he's leading the team in scoring, averaging 28 points a game on 50%, on 56% shooting. And when you look at what Jaylen Brown is doing, he is this season right now, he's playing at a different pace than any other Celtic player on the team right now. He's in more physical shape. His pace is different. The way that he's attacking the basket. Hey, Foxy, do you know what my side job is? Despite of working for ESPN.
What's that? What's that?
I work
What's
for the
that?
Boston Network. I do the Boston play-by-play. I do the inside.
So that means you remember last year when Jayson Tatum was blacking out. So you remember that too.
Did you watch the Celtic game? Not last night when he had 42 points in 3 quarters. But did you watch the Celtic game against the Indiana Pacers when time and time again Jaylen Brown kept them alive, come up with the big steals and the big moments, and now he's just getting his credit? You can roll your eyes. I ain't going nowhere. My wife roll her eyes at me every day. I don't care about that.
You picking one game or or 4 games at the beginning of the season, and that's supposed to make me believe he's better. I'm sorry, Charlie. Go ahead.
Look, we got to drop this conversation, but we do also have to bring in another very talented woman on the First Take cast this morning. Kimberly Martin back with us.